What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another FPL Transfer Talks video. And we're going to start things off by talking about the man in red hot form right now, Raul Jimenez. This is a player who has scored 4 goals and got 1 assist in just 5 Premier League starts. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm going to be totally honest. I think Raul Jimenez has found his form again, and he really does look like the Raul Jimenez of old, the Raul Jimenez that was playing for Wolves and banging goals in the Premier League. It seems like he's that player again, and he's found his feet. And with that being said, guys, with Raul Jimenez sort of being back in form again, and with these great fixtures that he's got, I think he is a man that you should be looking to buy for Game Week 9, man. The fixtures are there for Fulham and Raul Jimenez. In Game Week 9, he's got Everton away, which is still a good fixture in my opinion. I know Everton have improved slightly defensively, but I still think it's a really good fixture for Raul Jimenez and Fulham. And then in Game Week 10, they've got Brentford at home. Again, a really good fixture. Brentford have been one of the worst defensive sides so far this season in the Premier League. And then Palace away, again, a really good fixture. And then Wolves at home, another good fixture for Fulham. I just think that these next 4 fixtures for Fulham are really good. But also, when you look at the long term, I actually think he could be a good long-term option, especially if you're in a situation where you could actually bench Raul Jimenez for his slightly tougher games and start him in the good games. For example, if you're in a situation where you've got good squad depth in your FPL team, and then you can bench him for Spurs away, Arsenal at home and Liverpool away, but then start him for Brighton at home and Southampton at home, I actually think beyond these 4 games you could actually keep him, and he could be a good long-term hold for your FPL team. So yeah, I just look at Raul Jimenez, man, and I really do like him as an option. And I think form is a big sort of factor that shouldn't be ignored, right? When a player is in form, especially when it's a player that we know especially when we know it's a player that is sort of Premier League proven, that can get you goals, is in form, I don't think we should ignore it, man. So I really do like Raul Jimenez. He's cheap, 5.7 million. His ownership is still relatively low as well at 7.7%. Yeah, I love him as an option. And another thing that I want to say is in Fulham's play style, right? With the way Fulham play, they like to utilize their wingers and fullbacks, right? So you get your overlapping fullbacks like Robinson. They like to use their wide plays and look for those crosses and cutbacks into the box. And with that style of play, it does suit Jimenez a lot. And I think that's also a big reason as to why Jimenez is scoring so many goals, because the Fulham system suits him to a T, right? So I just think Raul Jimenez, man, he's the one to go for if you're looking for a cheap option. And in terms of sort of Fulham's play style, guys, if you look at this sort of graphic here, right, this is a Raul Jimenez shots heat map. As you guys can see, the majority of his shots are coming from that central area in the penalty box, which is a really good sort of thing to look at, because it shows you that he's getting sort of big chances in good positions. And again, it comes back to that sort of Fulham play style, which is what I was talking about, sort of Fulham utilizing their width, utilizing the likes of Iwobi, Traore and Robinson overlapping as a fullback to look for those cutbacks and crosses into the box. It suits Jimenez to a T. And also from set pieces as well, Jimenez is a big threat. I like him as an option. I really do like him as an option. He was someone that I was talking about on my previous deadline stream, and I think he's a really good pick. So guys, look, if you are looking for a cheap option at 5.7 million, I think Raul Jimenez is the one, man. I really do. So I wanted to give my opinion on the Manchester United players, and we'll start off by talking about Bruno Fernandes. And of course, first things first, let's have a look at the fixtures, right? The fixtures are certainly there for Manchester United, right? It's West Ham away, which is a pretty decent fixture. Chelsea at home, tough fixture, but then Leicester at home, Ipswich away and Everton at home. So I feel like the next sort of 5 games are actually quite good. But more specifically from Game Week 11 to 13, right? These 3 games here are absolutely fantastic, right? But I want to talk about Bruno Fernandes, and in my opinion, although the fixtures are good for Manchester United, I wouldn't be going anywhere near Bruno Fernandes, right? I'm gonna keep it honest with you guys. I wouldn't go anywhere near him. For me, he absolutely fails the eye test. I'm not really interested in what the data says. He may have good underlying data, he might not. For me, I don't care. I watch Manchester United with my eyes, and when I watch Manchester United, I don't see Bruno Fernandes being a good attacking threat for Manchester United. He doesn't look like the player that's going to score you goals. He doesn't really look like the player that's going to get you an assist. Maybe from a set piece, yes, but overall in open play, certainly not. And at the end of the day, Manchester United aren't really a team that creates a lot of chances, right? So we're not really a high, chance creating team. And Bruno Fernandes isn't sort of. I don't look at Bruno Fernandes and really think he's going to get you any goals. That's just how it is from when I watch Manchester United. For me, the player that I look at that I think is going to get you a lot of goals is actually Alejandro Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho is the one that looks like Manchester United's sort of biggest threat in terms of scoring goals. He always just seems so involved. He's always taking on his man 1v1. He's always getting the crosses into the box. He's always getting in good goal scoring positions, and he's the one for me that if you're going to go for a Manchester United player, I would go for Alejandro Garnacho, and I would be avoiding Bruno Fernandes, especially also when you factor in price, right? Bruno Fernandes is costing 8.2 million. Garnacho is costing 6.2 million. So there is a 2 million difference there. Firstly, even if they were the same price, I would still be recommending Garnacho. But when you actually factor in price and Bruno being 2 mil more than Garnacho, it makes no sense to be picking Bruno Fernandes ahead of Alejandro Garnacho. And look, just as I said, for me, I just don't think sort of Bruno Fernandes is getting anywhere near to really scoring goals. And even if he is, right, the quality just simply isn't there from the player, right? He had at the start of the season, Bruno Fernandes was actually getting into good goal scoring positions, but failing to convert. And as I said, like, even if you are getting into good goal scoring positions, that's sort of the first part. But you actually need to be putting the ball in the back of the net. And Bruno Fernandes failed to do that at the start of the season, and he's continued to fail to do that throughout the season, right? He's got 0 goals so far, only 2 assists. I personally don't like Bruno Fernandes as an option, and I would be avoiding him. And if I was picking a Manchester United player, I would definitely be going for Alejandro Garnacho, because as I said, man, he's the one that looks like it's going to get you goals in that Manchester United team. Now, in terms of Marcus Rashford, this is a player that I've noticed his goal threat this season doesn't seem to be there as much. I think only in one game Marcus Rashford actually looked like he was going to score a goal, and that was in the Southampton game. Other than that, so far this season, I feel like Marcus Rashford's goal threat isn't what it used to be. He seems to be holding the width a lot more in this Manchester United system, and because of that, I've got him down as monitoring. I wouldn't say he's in a void, because I think we know that Marcus Rashford is an explosive player. He showed that previously in the Premier League, right? We know he can score you goals, especially when he is in form. And there is an argument to be made that good fixtures breed form, right? So on that basis, I've got him down as sort of not to buy him, not to avoid him, but just sort of have a look and watch Manchester United and see if his positioning is sort of improving in terms of, you know, getting into better goal scoring positions. Because right now, when I watch Man United, Rashford is sort of holding the width, right? And his assist threat is actually more than his goal threat right now across the course of the season. So that's my opinion on Rashford, and that's why I would sort of avoid him at the moment. But again, like I said, in the next 2 games, maybe you could watch a Man United game, and if it looks like Rashford's getting closer to goal, then I'd certainly jump on him, because I think Leicester at home, Ipswich away, and Everton at home are some really, really good games for Man United and Marcus Rashford. So yeah, that's my opinion on the Man United sort of midfielders and attackers. Avoid Bruno. I would definitely be considering buying Garnacho. I think he's a good pick, especially from Game Week 11 to 13. And again, I'd be monitoring Marcus Rashford. Now, in terms of the Manchester United defenders, I don't think it's a bad shout. I wouldn't be expecting any attacking returns from our defenders. But if in terms of clean sheets, I think from Game Week 11 to 13, that's when I would bring in maybe a Man United defender, because I think for Leicester at home, Ipswich away, and Everton at home are really, really good games for Man United defenders. But look, that's just sort of my opinion on the Man United assets overall. So next up, we do have Heung-min Sonaldo, and guys, I really think you should be considering buying Heung-min Son for Game Week 9. For me, I think he could genuinely be one of the best differentials to own from Game Week 9 moving forward. I mean, his ownership is so low, only at 6% ownership, which is absolutely crazy for for a player like Heung-min Son, who we know is so explosive. We know that Son is one of the best finishers in the Premier League, bona fide, elite, world-class finisher, can get you goals, can get you assists, and playing in a Tottenham Hotspur side that is so attacking, right? Spurs have been one of the best attacking sides so far this Premier League season. If you were to look at sort of the stats, you can see from XG open play that they actually rank second for expected goals in open play, which is absolutely fantastic. But also just on the eye test, from what we've seen from Tottenham, they have been absolutely fantastic going forward. So that's why I really do like him as an option. And then when you combine all of those things with the good fixtures that Tottenham have, I really do think that Heung-min Son could explode in the next few game weeks. I mean, the fixtures are certainly there for Tottenham. Palace away in Game Week 9, Villa at home in Game Week 10, which is a good fixture for an attacker, in my opinion. And then Ipswich at home in Game Week 11. even City away to an extent is a decent fixture for Son, especially because he does have a good record against Manchester City, and City have been conceding a lot of goals so far this season, and with the way that Man City like to play on the transition, Son could be sort of just an absolute just gem, because on transition Son can really hurt teams, and he is so good, and that's where Son sort of excels. So this, on paper, you might say, oh, Man City is a tough game, but honestly, when you sort of look deeper, I actually do think Son against Man City could actually be a quite good fixture for Son, believe it or not, because like I said, on the transition, man, yeah, Son can really hurt teams, and he can hurt Man City, and he's done it in the past. So look, I think Son has good fixtures, right? The fixtures are there, and like I said, he's playing for one of the best attacking teams so far this Premier League season. 3 goals, 3 assists, got 1 goal, 1 assist in the last game. Look, maybe the assist is up for debate. Look, I'm not going to go into the logistics of that. It is what it is. He had a good game, and that's the point I'm trying to make here. So look, I really do like Heung-min Son as an option. Really good fixtures. You can hold him for the long term, or even just play him for like the short term, maybe the next 4 to 6 game weeks. But either way, I just think Heung-min Son, we know how good of a player he is, and so far this season he's actually done really well. Of course, he missed the game against Brighton and the game against Manchester United. So when you take those 2 games out, he's only played 6 games so far this season, and he's got 6 FPL returns, right? 3 goals and 3 assists in just 6 Premier League starts. So I really do like Son as an option, man. I really do. And look, if you are looking to sort of remove Bukayo Saka out your team, I think sort of transitioning from Bukayo Saka to a Heung-min Son could definitely be a play for your FPL team. So look, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of Heung-min Son down below in the comments, but yeah, I really do like him as an option. So next up, we do have the Wolves assets, and my top 3 picks from Wolves would definitely be Strand Larsen, Matheus Cunha, and Ryan Aït-Nouri. I think all 3 options are really good, right? I think, look, the fixture run that Wolves have is just absolutely incredible, guys. Absolutely incredible. Starting off in game week 9, Brighton away. I think the Brighton defense is really poor, by the way. I do want to say that I think Brighton going forward are good, but certainly I think their defense is one to target for me this season. They play such a high line, and they concede a lot of chances, and every time I watch them, I just see the opposition creating chance after chance after chance. So for me, I think definitely Brighton is a team to maybe target this season. But I think the Brighton game certainly is good for Wolves, especially the attackers. Maybe not so much for Aït-Nouri, but definitely for Cunha and Strand Larsen. And look, game week 10, Palace at home. Game week 11, Southampton at home. Then game week 12, Fulham away. Then Bournemouth at home. Then Everton away. Guys, I could go on and on. But you guys can see on screen how good the long-term fixtures are for Wolves. So for that reason, they've definitely got to be considered. Look, I know Wolves have been really poor so far this season, but let's be honest, guys, they have had a tricky run to the start of the season, right? They've had such a difficult run. As you guys can see here, they played Arsenal, then Chelsea, then Forest away, then Newcastle at home, then Villa away, then Liverpool at home, then Brentford away, then Man City at home. I mean, some of these games are absolutely ridiculous. To play Man City, Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, and Arsenal, those 5 teams in the first 8 games, you're going to struggle, right? So I think, look, good fixtures breed form, in my opinion. Wolves do have some really good players. So I think from this point onwards, they'll start to score a lot more goals, maybe keep a couple more clean sheets, and possibly just win more games in general, right? But yeah, these are the 3 Wolves players that I would be strongly considering for game week 9. I think Strand Larsen is a really good cheap enabler at 5.5 million, man. A really good option in my opinion. So far, he scored 3 goals in just 8 games, and I actually think that's a pretty decent return, especially considering sort of how tough the fixtures have been for Wolves. And yeah, Strand Larsen, scored against Chelsea, scored against Brentford and Manchester City as well. And I think, again, in these next upcoming games, he's going to be a really good pick, man, because he's that number 9 in that system, and he will get chances, man. He will get chances. He's like a really good penalty box striker, and he just thrives in that number 9 role, being sort of like a fox in the box sort of player. And even technically, he's still actually technically good, as much as he is sort of like a big sort of player, really tall, around 6'4". He still is sort of technically good and technically secure. So I just think he's a good, well-rounded number 9, and I think he is definitely a player that will benefit with these good fixtures, man. So I really do like Strand Larsen, and he is someone that I am considering for my own team as well. But Matheus Cunha is another player that I like. But one thing with Matheus Cunha is sort of he will play either on the left or in that number 9 role. It sort of depends on sort of what system Gary O'Neill does choose to play, whether he plays a 5 at the back or 4 at the back system. But either way, whether Cunha's playing on the left or number 9, I still really do like him as a pick because he's on penalties and he's going to play 90 minutes as well. I know he didn't play 90 minutes in the last game against City, but I think that was more of just a game state substitution sort of thing. With these good, easy fixtures, I think Cunha will play more or less 90 minutes. So yeah, I really do like Cunha as an option. He's on penalties as well, and like I said, he's either going to play, if it's a 5 at the back formation, he'll play as a number 9. If it's a 4 at the back formation, he'll play on the left. But I really do like Cunha as an option because he's a good player. And if you were to ask me sort of who are the biggest attacking threats for Wolves, it's going to be Cunha and Strand Larsen. And speaking of attacking threats, Aït-Nouri is also one of them, to be fair. Aït-Nouri is a really good attacking fullback, and he almost plays like a winger. Technically, he's absolutely amazing, and just going forward, he is just so good as an attacking wing back. And I'm going to be honest, the 5 at the back formation really does suit Aït-Nouri to a T, because he can get much more further forward, and he'll just thrive in that attacking role. So far this season, he's got 2 goals and 2 assists, which is 4 attacking returns in 8 games, and for a defender costing 4.4 million is really good. And I know the clean sheet potential probably isn't that high for Wolves, but with some of these good fixtures now coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if Wolves do get a few clean sheets, right? I do think they've got it in them for a couple clean sheets, but either way, regardless of the clean sheets, I just think Aït-Nouri at 4.4 with these fixtures, knowing that he's so attacking, I just think you've got to take the gamble on Aït-Nouri, man. I really do. So, look, that's my opinion on these Wolves players. I really am a big fan of all 3 of them, and I am considering Aït-Nouri and Strand Larsen for my own personal team as well. So, yeah, I think, look, if you own any of these players, you should be excited for Game Week 9 and onwards. But, yeah, that's my opinion on the Wolves assets. Let's move on to the next player. So, I quickly just wanted to give my opinion on why you should sell Luis Diaz for Game Week 9. And I'm not going to lie, man, Luis Diaz, for me, has just been officially declared as just a big, massive rotation risk, and from this point onwards, I wouldn't be looking to go anywhere near Luis Diaz because you just simply cannot guarantee that he's going to start. And look, the next game that he does have, even if he was to start, is against Arsenal away, which is a really tough fixture. And after that, I do know the fixtures are quite good for Liverpool. You know, they got Brighton at home, Villa at home, and Southampton away, which is definitely really good on paper, but honestly, we don't even know if Luis Diaz is going to start all of those games. And that's the reason why, for me, I would just be looking to sell Luis Diaz, to be honest with you. I don't think it's worth the risk. Look, Luis Diaz, he's been exceptional this season. So good. But like I said, it doesn't really matter how good he's been if you don't know if he's going to play week in, week out. Especially, guys, when there are a lot of good players that you can go to off by selling Luis Diaz, right? If you don't have Brian Mbeumo in your team, for example, you can sell Luis Diaz, bring in a Brian Mbeumo who does have Ipswich at home and a really good fixture run. He's got Ipswich, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, Leicester. So yeah, you could easily just sell Luis Diaz for a Brian Mbeumo, for example. You could easily sell Luis Diaz for a Brennan Johnson, let's say, who we've seen has hit really good form so far this season. His fixtures are really good, and look, we know that Brennan Johnson is going to start. Obviously, yes, if we knew Luis Diaz was going to start, he would definitely be the better option over someone like Brennan Johnson, in my opinion. But we just can't guarantee Luis Diaz is going to start. So I think, you know, Brennan Johnson, maybe Maddison as well, is a really good option. Maybe even a Morgan Rogers as well. I just think, yeah, selling Luis Diaz is the play for me, in my opinion, because we just don't know if he's going to start. And the thing is, the difference between him and Diogo Jota is that I think Arne Slot has made it pretty clear now that he doesn't really like Darwin Núñez. He doesn't favour Darwin Núñez, and Darwin Núñez will get minimal minutes and most likely just play the sort of games in like the Carabao Cups and the FA Cups, because Diogo Jota has started and got 90 minutes pretty frequently in recent weeks, and he's only missed 1 game, whereas Luis Diaz has missed quite a few games already due to being benched. So I just think that it's quite clear now that sort of Arne Slot does like Gakpo, and for that reason he's going to rotate Gakpo on the left with Luis Diaz, and Arne Slot doesn't really like Darwin Núñez, and for that reason Diogo Jota does actually seem to be the consistent starter in that number 9 position. So look, if you are someone that sort of wants to own a cheaper Liverpool attacker, then maybe you could go from Luis Diaz to Diogo Jota, because he does look like the one that is going to get you the consistent starts at the moment. So look, that's just my opinion. That's just sort of what I think on Luis Diaz. I do think if you have him, you should be looking to sell him. Of course, I could be wrong, but from what we've seen so far, it does seem like you're going to see that you're going to see this pretty frequently this season, in regards to Luis Diaz being sort of rotated in and out of the team. But look, that's just my opinion on Luis Diaz. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And look, that is going to be it for today's transfer talks video. I really do hope you did enjoy, and if you did enjoy the video, make sure you guys do smash a big thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. But until then, I'm out. Peace.